So Green Calgary's very mission and vision ties perfectly in with the environmental pieces of Imagine Calgary's targets. It's actually an ideal framework for what we're doing and just gives us the larger umbrella and picture for the environmental initiatives that Green Calgary is really trying to undertake. So the way that Green Calgary is structured, actually, we currently operate 4 different program areas, almost all of which fit under the umbrella of environmental education. But the first piece, environmental education specifically, involves us going out to schools, to classrooms, and talking to kids in curriculum-tied presentations about waste, about water, how to reduce our waste production and water use in this province specifically, so in this context in Alberta, but more specifically in Calgary. Environmental education also extends into businesses in the workplace and also workshops that are delivered right here in Green Calgary's offices. A second program area is the commercial environmental services, which also ties in really well with Imagine Calgary, in that we are working to support businesses in making greener decisions. So whether that be going into the businesses and providing a waste assessment and helping them figure out where their waste is coming from, what the majority of the waste is and how to reduce that, or talking to them about how to reduce their water consumption, or green procurement, where they're sourcing their materials, and can you do it in a more ethical, environmentally sensitive way, all that sort of thing. And essentially we operate that as a social enterprise, so it's a consulting sort of a model. A third program area is Green Calgary's Eco Store, which is probably the main public gateway to what Green Calgary does. The Eco Store exists to provide people with the tools to make environmental choices here in Calgary. So we primarily, for instance, sell composters and rain barrels. The composters are subsidized by the City of Calgary, so we're able to provide it to the public for $25. But when the Calgary citizen comes into the Eco Store, it's not about simply a money transaction. The person comes in and may have an interest in composting, and very rarely do we ever just sell the composter. More often, we take some time to explain and chat with the citizen about how to compost. So that it's an involved process, but the folks that work in our Eco Store, we don't necessarily see it as a retail outlet, but as an education center. So that's what we do there in the Eco Store. That's been on location here on 4th Ave at 7th Street since, it opened here about 5 or 6 years ago, and it's been constantly undergoing all kinds of changes. And then the final program area is really quite new. Initially it was residential environmental services. It's now primarily known to the public as Healthy Homes. And that's a really exciting new program that we've started to really approach Calgarians in a holistic way in their houses, to help them reduce their energy consumption, to help them reduce their water consumption, and reduce the waste production as well right in the home. So that might look like coming right into your house, looking at your electricity bill with you, helping figure out what it all means, and then coming up with some really tangible tools in terms of how to reduce that. So where we might even screw in some CFL light bulbs, or we might install some aerators on your taps in the first visit, and 2 months later we'd return and check in and see how things have been going, and then take things a little bit deeper and perhaps talk about local food and how you get from place to place. So those 4 program areas of Green Calgary all pull together to tie in with our mission about, I'll just simply paraphrase, but it's really just about empowering Calgarians to have healthy homes in healthy community, which I really see as being an environmental subset of what Imagine Calgary does for the whole community. So we really engaged with Imagine Calgary because we see it as a really powerful vision and a very exciting way to draw together what a huge number of organizations and individuals doing great work here in Calgary, planning for a sustainable future, and what will there be a Calgary 100, 200, 300 years from now? What is it going to look like? And can we create a city that we want, as opposed to end up in a city that's simply been created for us? So we're really, really excited to take part in this initiative, and I just would feel thrilled if every Calgary nonprofit, huge number of Calgary businesses took part in this framework, given that the more people engaged in it, the more power it has. And I think we certainly need a very powerful vision for our city. This is a really great existing vision, and one that can support us all as we move forward.